I'd like to welcome on our next guest of the program. We've known Jennifer for quite some time. She's one of the leading, advocates of quality benefit communication education, and one of the most needed components today. So let me welcome to the program Jennifer Benz, founder and CEO of Benz Communications. Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to talk to you. You and I haven't seen each other in a little while. We normally bump into each other all the time. So
I know,
nice
it's been way too long. We need to fix that.
Yeah, nice to have you on the program. Well, you can come to Foreman Expo in a couple of weeks as my guest. So,
thank you.
Well, listen, I think, your time has really come. You've been doing some very innovative things out there for quite some time, and your work is great, and I compliment you on everything you've been getting done. Give our audience a little more background on Benz Communications, if you would, please.
Oh, sure. Thanks so much. So I started Benz Communications about 9 years ago, and we're a boutique communications and marketing firm out here in San Francisco. My team's about 27 people now, and we focus exclusively on employee benefits and have a lot of fun helping our clients who are mostly Fortune 500 companies, a lot of 100 best companies to work for, get really, really great results with their employee benefits. So we've been doing lots of consumer-driven plan implementations, really getting people engaged around healthcare. Lots of our focus now is shifting to financial wellness, and we have a big financial wellness framework that's coming out next week, a project we did with State Street. So lots of neat work, and all about really trying to get employees engaged around the full spectrum of benefits.
Yeah, and it is engagement right now. You just did a survey with Quantum Workplace where you surveyed actually 2,000 U.S. employees. Talk a little bit about that, Jennifer, if you would, please.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really neat chance to work with Quantum on this survey. You all probably know about the best places to work surveys that happen all over the country, and Quantum Workplace is the company that powers those behind the scenes. And they have a group of tens of thousands of employees who are at companies that have participated in that best places to work competition, who have said, yes, send me more surveys. I'm willing to give you more of my opinions and more of my time. And that's the group that we surveyed for this. So what I thought was really interesting about this is it was all employees at companies that care about employee engagement, and almost all of them had employer-sponsored health insurance. So we got some really good insights around healthcare and kind of the attachment that employees have around healthcare benefits, how much wellness is connected to engagement and the employee experience, and then, of course, the consumer behaviors, which people are way overconfident about their healthcare knowledge, but don't really ask about costs as much as they should, and that was a big highlight, a big insight from the survey.
So tell me about how employees, and these are leading edge companies because these are the best places to work employees. Tell me about the perception these employees have on the value of the health benefits that their employers are providing.
Well, employer health benefits are so highly valued right now. And still, so you all know, and as an industry we've been talking about this a lot, when healthcare reform was passed 5 years ago, a lot of experts thought, okay, this is going to finally break apart that connection of the employer and health insurance, that very unnatural kind of accidental thing that has happened. And that clearly has not happened. Employers are still very much wedded to health insurance, and what our survey showed is that individuals are really overly attached, in my opinion, to that employer-sponsored health benefit. So in our survey, 70% of folks said they value their health benefits. 89% say that health benefits play a part in staying at their current employer. And 48%, so about half of folks, say that their health benefits play a major part in staying at their current employer. And then,
go ahead. No, I'm sorry, Jennifer. Go ahead and finish. I apologize. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. I was going to say, of the people who said that benefits are an overriding factor in keeping them at their company, 82% gave their benefit package high marks. So, whatever concerns HR folks have about the perception of employer-sponsored coverage, this showed very clearly people really, really value that coverage and those benefits.
Yeah, that's why I think we see, and it'd be interesting to see, I think your survey reaffirms some of this. That's why we see the continued movement to full replacement HSA and healthcare consumerism programs because they work, they provide plans of choice, and they're surrounded, and the smart employers, to your point, surround them with good, solid wellness program, other plan choices that their consumers can make, and other tools that help them become that better consumer of health and healthcare. Agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The other data point I have to share from the survey, and I think you all will appreciate this, is only 5% of folks in our survey said that they think they can get a better deal on the open market than their health insurance from their employer. So people are so wedded to that employer-sponsored insurance, but we still see that companies are so resistant to changing benefits. And I think this gives a green light. If you're thinking about doing a big change to your health plans, do it now and do it the right way with a lot of communication and with getting employees really engaged. They are going to be willing participants in whatever you do with their health benefits because there's that much value associated with having those plans.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Did you happen to ask about exchanges, private exchanges, and defined contribution at all?
No, we didn't touch on the exchange topic on this and defined contribution. And from what when we've done focus groups with employees and so forth, I don't think that the average employee understands what that means from a concept. And even employees who are in an exchange right now may not even know because it's kind of feels just like a different form of benefits administration. So I don't think employee perceptions on exchanges are going to help us get clarity on where that's going to go because the average person just doesn't understand it.
Yeah, I agree with that. What tips do you offer and do you talk about to offer consumers to get better engaged and informed patients? I mean, can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think that's where we're all looking to. I mean, from the eyes of the employer-sponsored healthcare, we're all focused on our employees as consumers, but also as patients too.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was another interesting data point from our survey. We asked folks about their behaviors when it comes to getting care, and 69% of folks in our survey said that they believe they have enough information to get the right care for themselves and their family. But then when we asked how many people ask about cost and how much a medical procedure will cost, only 48% say they ask their doctor how much care will cost. And that number went down dramatically when you got to higher income brackets, which is no surprise. So there's this big disconnect between people feeling really confident that they know what they're doing when it comes to healthcare, but they're not asking about cost, which is that key behavior we've been trying to drive with consumer-driven plans, and really that key behavior that we've been banking on with consumer-driven plans. So I think there's just so many opportunities for employers to help with that. And what we see, unfortunately, very few employers do benefit communication well, and the ones that do it well have tremendous results. But the majority only communicate one time a year during annual enrollment. They don't invest enough resources in communication, and they still let lawyers drive the show. So their communication looks a whole lot more like compliance materials rather than something that the average person is going to really want to sit down and understand.
Yeah, Jennifer, I mean, and you live and breathe this. You're an expert in this field, but benefit communication education is really turning itself into a 365-day-a-year proposition, right?
Absolutely, and it should be. I mean, what we're trying to do with employee benefits, and especially with consumerism, is change people's weekly and daily behaviors. You can't do that if you only communicate with them a couple times a year, and you can't do that if you give them resources that are stuck on a shelf somewhere or buried on your intranet somewhere. We have to use modern communication tools, have ongoing, robust communication throughout the year, and we're big proponents of having that benefits information outside of the firewall on a website that your employees can access. They can just pull up on their mobile phone or pull up on their home computer anytime without a password. It's all about removing barriers to entry and removing those barriers to access, because this is not easy stuff for people to learn, and not top of mind for them to want to be engaged with. So we have to make it as easy as possible.
And also, would you not agree too, Jennifer? I was in a discussion not too long ago with CEO of a company, and we were talking about the fact that you need to have a truly integrated communication mix, because they were even using the analysis that if you look inside an employee population, you probably have 4 different demographic groups. It's just as an example within that employee population, and all 4 of those maybe have different ways that we need to communicate to them. I mean,
Absolutely.
The millennials are going to go to the mobile phone first. I mean, I'm not saying that the baby boomers won't, but they maybe need to talk to somebody first and then access mobile, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have incredibly diverse workforces to engage, and you don't even necessarily have to think of it in terms of generations, but just in terms of the way different adults consume information and the way different people learn. So some people are going to get it by watching a video. Some people are going to get it when they see it in a really cute little graphic, kind of a visual infographic. Some people are going to want to sit down and read the details and then come back to it and read it again and again. And that's just the different styles of how people learn, and those go across generation. So we have to really, it's up to us to do the work to make this easy for folks. And when you do, you can get great results, but it does take effort to really communicate and engage people the right way.
Yeah, it really does. What are some of the other findings that came out of your survey that for our audience?
Well, two things that won't surprise practitioners, but I think are just good validation for what best practices are out there already. We asked a lot about wellness programs and people's perceptions around wellness programs, and I think the most interesting finding from that is that just the existence of a workplace wellness program helps inspire people to make healthy choices. So 60% of folks that we surveyed who have access to a workplace wellness program said they're inspired by their company culture to make healthy choices. If among the folks that didn't have a workplace wellness program, only 15% say they're inspired to make healthy choices. So that's a huge difference. And wellness doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be these arduous programs that take a ton of vendors. These can be simple grassroots opportunities to get people engaged around their health, and it makes a huge impact on company culture. We also saw there's a big connection between the people who are inspired by their company culture to make healthy choices and those who are engaged at work. And every employer wants employee engagement. So that connection between the wellness programs and the companies who invest in wellness programs and then having higher engagement was really clear in our data.
Yeah, and I see wellness. I spoke at out your neck of the woods recently at Health Technology Forum and was asked a lot of questions about where I see workplace wellness, and you're making some of those points. And I summarized and said, workplace wellness is having a reset right now. It's definitely not going away. It's resetting itself and focus on re-engagement and how to do it the right way. And I think workplace wellness is going to benefit from the engagement strategies across the benefit compendium. I mean, if you're moving to full replacement program, to your point, you've got to focus on engagement, communication, education, and that's going to benefit wellness engagement in the end as well, and vice versa.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the thing that's exciting for me about wellness is I think there's a lot of awareness that there are environmental and organizational changes that need to be made to really create companies that inspire health and inspire wellness. And that's not necessarily about getting the employees to do a bunch of stuff. Sometimes it's about changing the design of your office space or the type of food that's offered on site, or it's training managers so you have good managers who support healthy behaviors. Those are all so key and make such a big impact on people's day-to-day life. And those are things that employers have total control over. And I don't know if anyone has read Brian Wansing's book, Slim by Design, but I've gotten to know him recently, And he says, it's a whole lot easier to redesign your workplace to make it easy to make healthy choices than it is to teach a bunch of people and convince them to make healthy choices every day.
That makes sense. That makes tremendous sense. Well, Jennifer, this has been a lot of fun, and we'll have to do this again, and we'd love to get you involved with our Forum West program too. I'll do an outreach to you. I'd love to, get your expertise with us, and to work on informing our market. So, leave our audience with a couple takeaways, please.
Well, I'll leave you with one final thought from our survey and some encouragement. One of the unfortunate findings in our survey was that people had an overarchingly negative experience with healthcare reform. The majority said that the changes didn't have an impact, but for those who thought they did have an impact, 73% said it was negative. And 15%, only 50% said changes were adequately explained to them. And this is interesting. Of the folks who said healthcare reform changes were not adequately explained to them, they were 10 times more likely to be hostile toward their employer. And hostile is that very, very far end of the employee engagement scale where someone is actively trying to disengage others around them. And that data could all be correlated to how employers handled ACA communication. So there's so much change in benefits right now, and we have seen time and time again that if companies get out ahead of it, if they do communication the right way, you can get employees super engaged and super appreciative of benefits even in times of change. But most companies are just not doing it well right now, and you've got to put the resources behind the communication, and there's so many great examples of how to do it. So I hope that when folks go out and look at the quantum data, there's some good inspiration in there for them to put more resources and get more momentum behind what they're already doing.
Thank you, Jennifer, so much. Let our audience know how they can get in touch with you, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is benzcommunications.com, BENZ. You can find all of our resource on there. You can reach out and reach us directly if you want any help sorting through our resources, or we can point you to more data. And then I'm Jen Benz on Twitter, and I'm also on LinkedIn. Very easy to find.
Thanks, Jen, very much. Listen, enjoy your weekend out there, and look forward to seeing you real soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.